It was confirmed on Smackdown this week that both the men's and women's Money in the Bank ladder matches at WWE headquarters, which have already been taped, will be taking place simultaneously. I believe with one ring on the roof and both briefcases hanging one right next to the other. Ryan Satin said that he heard the idea floated that the matches would actually be taking place throughout the pay-per-view, with commentary checking in on things between, I guess, all of the other matches that are going to be happening at the Performance Center. It sounds very, when you hear that concept, it sounds very busy, almost just too busy trying to pay attention to everything that's going on. But again, anything beats doing these matches in an empty PC. So I'm all for the idea, and I'm very curious to see how this plays out. You got to try new things. You have to. You have to try new things. This is something different. If they're shooting these matches cinematically, which apparently they are, you can get away with doing cut-ins on the matches. That works better than if the matches are filmed like a movie, it actually works better that way. After one match, let's cut to the men. Let's see what part of the building the men are in. Let's see what they're up to. Then maybe cut to the ladies in a different part of the building, a different section of the floor. Titan Tower is a big building. I don't know how many stories it is, but it's a big building. Then cut back to the live matches at the Performance Center, and then cut back again, back and forth. So that could work. They would end up being the longest Money in the Bank matches in history. If they technically go all the way through the pay-per-view from start to finish, then they would easily be the longest, maybe the longest matches, period, in WWE history. So I am really looking forward to this. I am looking forward to seeing this because either way, good or bad, it gives me something to talk about on the recap right after. It's good content for me. So I am all for it. But no, I like the concept. I gotta say, I can't hate on the concept. I know it sounds very busy. They're doing too much at once. Maybe they are. But I like that they're at least doing something different. Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman was in the ring when he was interrupted by Bray Wyatt in the Funhouse, who was going to read to him a special story called The Black Sheep. Black Sheep is also a very good movie, as is Tommy Boy, Chris Farley and David Spade. So he was going to read him a story. Story time with Bray. And in this story, a shepherd, hopefully not Brad, spotted a black sheep wandering alone. He brought that black sheep home. He raised that sheep. All was well until one day the sheep left without saying so much as thank you or goodbye. All of his other animals left him too. Then the government came in and took his farm, and the reptilians showed up. It sounds like something you would hear on Alex Jones's show. Now he's going to take that black sheep, he says, to the slaughterhouse. Strowman said, I'm sick of the puppets. Get your ass down here. Come meet me in the ring face to face. And Bray just stared at him and then waved goodbye. And that was the end of the segment. And next Friday on SmackDown on the Go Home show, they are promoting a face to face with the two of them. Obviously in this story, Bray is the shepherd. Braun was the sheep, wandering aimlessly. Now he's going to turn that ungrateful sheep into a pair of Ugg boots. So I think the story is fine. I think the match is probably going to suck. And they could probably, get away with Bray losing if the Fiend then returns to avenge the loss. They can stretch this out and get another match out of it. Because at some point, it's got to be Fiend and Braun. It can't just end with Braun and Bray. Even if Bray were to win, there still has to be a confrontation between the Fiend and Braun Strowman, which is clearly what this is building to. Carmella pinned Mandy Rose to advance to the Women's Money in the Bank. Carmella is technically a two-time Money in the Bank match winner, although it was for the same briefcase. They just redid the one match, but she is technically a two-time winner. I predict that she will not three-peat at the pay-per-view. I know that's a bold prediction, but Carmella will not three-peat at the pay-per-view. Now, the reason that she pinned Mandy Rose to qualify is because Sonya Deville walked out in the middle of the match with a microphone in her hand, and she began berating Mandy, distracting Mandy. That led to Mandy losing. After the match was over, Sonya gave her this vicious beating and vowed to ruin her life. I thought Sonya Deville was great. I got crazy Victoria vibes from the way she was, pulling her hair and everything and acting all crazy, which is not a bad thing. I think she's been doing a tremendous job since the big reveal before WrestleMania. She has run with it. She's been one of the bright spots, I think, on this SmackDown show.